Longman's gonna come and help us out when he's done over with Nebuchadnezzar's code 10.
Please tell me it's not true. It's not true. It's true.
Yeah, they found Lyons' breach help that guy.
Oh yeah?
So Nebuchadnezzar had him in the car and he refused to get out of the car, so he frustrated him. Which I probably wouldn't have done, because that is a lot. I don't want pepper spray in my car.
No, yeah, I wouldn't do it either, but.
Please tell me it's not true. It's not.
He's just trying to pick up his headphones.
It's not true.
I'm impressed. I am not that limber.
Please tell me it's not that true.
You said what?
I did it. I did it.
I'm not sure those headphones will do you any good without your phone nearby. It'll be criminal. Or DUI, I have a DUI option on there.
Fuck.
What you listening to?
My listeners playing.
Oh, what are you listening to? You got some music playing? Mm-hmm. Oh. Do you want to listen to something?
Yeah.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Whatever.
Whatever? I got some music on my phone we can listen to.
Just talk to her.
No, not right now. Let's see. That's too bad.
I didn't do anything.
I put you as the assistant officer.
Yeah.
Only I didn't do anything. Please, I didn't do anything.
Okay, thanks, yeah.
You don't understand. She's being. You don't understand.
What's the, never mind, I got it. Where you going, bud? You can take a nap if you want. You alright?
Dude, I don't know if I'd let him on the floor. That's pretty dirty.
So a lot of drunk people have peed on that floor. I'm not sure you want to lay there. Do you need medical attention?
Yeah.
What for?
Heart hurts.
Your heart hurts?
Yeah, it hurts.
411. Michael, the fire department's on their way. Is there anything we can do for you right now? What?
No, sir, I think.
No, sir? Okay. What's going on?
I see 3.
You see 3? 3 what?
I'm breathing.
Okay, well, let's sit up. And that'll help you breathe a little bit better, okay?
Okay.
Sit up on your butt, all right?
I can't.
You gotta help me. Sit right there, okay?
There you go. Get your feet straight.
If you sit up straight, you'll breathe better. Don't lay down.
Choke on anything. There you go.
This is a DUI from hell. You gotta be kidding me. Does it help when you lay down like that? Michael?
Talk, you can breathe.
You feel better laying down like that?
No.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
Keep you on your side.
if you're faking anything, it's not gonna get you out of the DUI. You'll still be arrested for DUI.
Okay.
I'm just letting you know that. Alright? I don't know what he's saying.
Am I on my side or my back? Yeah, you're on your side now. Dude, he's on some meds, so I don't know if he has maybe a condition.
I don't know. I mean, they're anti-anxiety meds, though. It's not like Caesar medication or anything like that. Do you feel better when you lay on your stomach like that?
Yeah.
It does feel better? Okay. Let us know if you need help sitting up. We'll bring them in here. Do you see 3 or you say 3? What are you saying C? 3 what? 3 feet? How many now? Is it still 3 or is it just 1? I don't know how this works.
It's not like room on the floor.
What's that?
It's not like room on the floor.
Right.
So they don't like us to do the blood drive.
Oh no, they don't mind it. They allow us to do blood drives, they just don't like it if they don't let their people do it for us. Like their nurses. Like that. We should be done now. He should be home with his girlfriend, but... Do you need to sit up, Michael? Let's have you sit up, alright? Okay. Bring your knees up to your chest. Knees up to your chest. Or that. Anything we can do for you, Michael? No, sir?
Just checking. Want to be able to let the fire department know what they're doing.
Please.
So he found out it was going to be a felony DUI.
Yeah.
And he just kinda-
Arthritis or whatever you said?
Yeah, incarceratus, exactly. He just kind
That's a good one.
of flopped over, fell on the ground, and said his heart hurts.
Okay.
We sat him up a couple times, but then he just kept flipping over to the stomach, said it felt better. So,
We just let the rest work for me.
Keep going. That's you got right here.
actually, yes, it is.
What's up, man?
Hey.
Can you sit up?
I can sit up.
Can't you sit up?
I'm C3.
Is he drunk or?
He took a couple cold.
I took 4 clubs and
He says two.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Michael Chad Breinholt.
Well, you want to just speak up?
I get lost with my fake
Well,
name.
that's fair.
I get lost with my
Oh, you gave them a fake name? You're gonna give us a real name?
What?
Hey man, we can't help you if you don't sit up and hold still.
Did you
No, bullshit, dude, sit down.
Uh-oh.
Hey, yeah,
I'm C3 boots. I'm C3 boots.
Well, there's about 10
in the
here.
doorway.
Look, man, we're just gonna
You guys
take the
got
vitals.
Yeah, it's,
So the more you breathe like that, the worse it's gonna be, man. I think you know that. Just relax. Slow your breathing down.
that's it.
Okay.
That's all we need.
Well, have a good night.
Music to my ears. Nothing medically wrong with you.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry we couldn't
Appreciate
do more
it.
help.
Good evening.
No, you did great.
Have a good
It's
night.
everything we needed. Yeah, it is. Thanks, guys.
Please.
All right, have fun.
We'll see ya. All right, right back where we were 2 minutes ago. 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, a woman called out or attacked himself, so.
Oh, you did? Perfect.
My people were
I talked to her on the phone and she said that he just came to pick up the kid and that he left. She never said anything about a broken window. That's bullshit.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, well, I'm not showing up because I'm going to be on this for another hour, so.
Oh, but I see three.
DUI?
I see three.
A day off in the sheriff, like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah.
We can tell he's intoxicated. There's footage of him pulling in.
Almost hit a car as he was driving in.
So we've got evidence of him in actual control.
Yeah. And then we have the girlfriend and the administrator of the living facility saying that he didn't drink anything or have anything of alcohol with him while he was there at the facility. So anything he ingested was while or before he was driving.
Unless it's the Gatorade bottle.
It says that Gatorade, but it's not. It's Gatorade. Yeah, and then I have the video of him driving the car into the parking spot, almost hitting that other car.
So when he went straight from the car into the facility?
No, girlfriend came out to the car, and then they got in a little bit of an argument. She told him to leave, and then she went back inside, and he followed her inside. They kicked him out and called us. Yeah, she took the keys. We informed him it would be a felony DUI, and minutes later his heart started hurting.
But he was fine up until then. So probably a true case of valenitis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's the time lapse that he was outside the car?
About 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Was he in the presence of someone that whole time?
He was with the girlfriend and the administrator the whole time.
Got out of the car, was it in the whole time? Do we have statements from him and say, smell alcohol?
She said, she told me that she said she could smell the odor of alcohol. That he had told her he took a lot of, well, I don't know, and that she took the keys away from him because he almost hit that car while parking.
Did she observe that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she said she smelled the odor of alcohol, and that's why she took the keys away.
And then they were working the whole time with each other.
Yeah.
No alcohol, no pills, we'll just need to get the
We'll need
statements
to
to
get the statements, yeah.
because that's going to be our anchor to make sure we fill that gap, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go.
No.
Let me go.
Where's, is it Nelson?
Nielsen.
Nielsen?
Yeah, he's up in the car doing his reports right now.
Good for him.
Oh, this might be a while.
It is warm in here.
A little bit.
Depends on how to do this.
This is a lady.
I want to go to uni.
Uni?
Yeah.
Well, maybe
So,
you can go to uni after
Michael?
jail.
Let me tell you this right now, okay? I'm not gonna sit here all night and play games with you. You've already wasted our fire department's time by having them come out for some bullshit, okay?
Okay.
I'm not taking you to uni, I'm taking you to jail. That's where you're going, okay? So, cut the bullshit.
I want to go to uni.
No, you're not going. You're going to jail.
Why take me to jail?
Okay? That's where we're gonna go.
Fine, let's go.
Okay. We got some business to conduct here first. It's gonna take about an hour.
Take me to jail then.
It's gonna take about an hour for us to do our business. And that's on you. That's on you because you didn't want to play nicely with us. Now we gotta go.
I do want to play
No.
nicely with you.
No, if you did, you would have blown into the breathalyzer.
Okay, if I blow the breathalyzer, you'll take me to uni.
We're beyond that now. Because when you
Okay,
refuse, yeah, so it's gonna be about an hour. Okay? So just hang tight.
Let me blow the breathalyzer and take me to uni. And I'll cooperate.
First of all, you're not going to uni, you're going to jail. Nothing's gonna change that, okay? Second of all, we're beyond your cooperation because you already decided you didn't wanna cooperate.
No, I
Okay.
didn't. No, I didn't.
So we're not gonna play that game.
No, I didn't.
We'll request a warrant from the judge, and if the judge approves that warrant, we'll draw your blood. Once we have your blood, we'll take you to jail. You understand
No,
that?
I didn't.
That's what's gonna happen.
Then let me cooperate.
We'll be.
Take me to uni.
I'm not taking you. You can ask me all night long, and that ain't gonna happen.
We gotta go check on him, which means he's gonna go sit in his car with his camera off and look at Facebook until we're ready for him.
Facebook, devil. Trying to find out. He's back.
Hey, if you destroy that, we're gonna charge you with destroying it, and that's a pretty pricey machine. Oh, he already did. He bit through it. Yeah, he straight up bit through the cord. Why would you bite through the cord? That's destruction of police property, dude. Come on now.
Well, let me go. I didn't do anything.
So you're gonna bite our power cords? You trying to get electrocuted? Is that what's going on?
Oh.
No. So that's not a way to do it.
That just hurt for a second.
Yeah, he straight up bit through it. Jeez, dude.
You don't let me do anything.
Oh, sorry. Do I need to bring you like a Nintendo XDS or something like that?
No, I didn't do anything.
Let's move the cord over here. Move the freshly contaminated cord over this way. So that Jaws here doesn't.
You can do anything.
And I think I refer to it as PBT, then you can do it. PBT.
Okay.
Don't abbreviate it.
Hey!
INTOXILYZER.
Top shot quarter. There.
In an attempt to escape custody.
We didn't do anything.
How's
How's it doing out there? Not even scared? He's in the break room right now.
Smart.
Yeah. That's
Smart.
what I told him. I was like, you're down 3. Tell the break room.
Yeah, Mike, you have a little tonight.
Huh?
Yeah, visited the I-9.
I think that's just gonna work. I've seen less, I've seen more. If you're okay with that, I'm fairly okay with that, so it's a work in progress.
You're fairly okay with that?
No, I'm not gonna make.
Let me take the wheel.
I'm not gonna make him do it my way.
No.
What?
It's a statement.
You're good with it.
I told him I told them I would do it, but they never sent me to a training, so.
Oh, I do.
I'm gonna tell him again.
Oh, let him know.
Did you put that? You bit that?
Does that count as a threat of violence if he reached into his pants and said, I have a gun in my pants?
I'll call the judge. Look at your phone in there.
Why take your shoe off?
Just in case he has any questions.
Is there a gun in your shoe too? Sit down.
Sit down.
There's a gun in my shoe.
Okay, sit down.
There's a gun in my shoe.
Okay, sit down.
Alright.
I'll get the gun out. You sit down.
No, I want to sit down.
Okay, stay seated.
It's under my seat.
Okay, good job. Thanks for sitting.
There's a gun in my seat.
Stay down. Okay. Stay seated. All right. You don't want to fight with me. You definitely don't want to fight with this guy.
Okay.
Just sit your ass and stay. Okay?
You're not letting me go.
No, we're not letting you go.
We're
For
not.
what?
We told you it'll still be a few minutes before you can go anywhere.
For what?
Before we go to jail.
Yeah, you want to take me?
Tell you what, give me your shoe.
No,
Yeah.
no. Not giving you my shoe.
Give me your shoe. Oh my gosh, you gotta be freaking out. Give me your shoe.
I got it.
Okay, fuck, he's got my gun! He's got my gun! You're about to die, my friend! Let go! Let go! Fuck! Don't put out the gun! Shots fired, shots fired.
You good? You good?
Yeah, medical.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Medical at the incarceration.
Out. Lane, door. Out.
Say go.
Acting, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Body check.
Good?
Yeah, I think so. That gun was right, pointed right at me. You're good.
Just leave it.
Yeah. Nothing legs?
Shots.
You good?
Yep.
Last leg was originally here.
Yeah.
Nothing else got moved. We got one shell casing here.
Man named Gaber Pop. Gaber's wife, Elizabeth, had found out. The text messages were nuclear. She almost destroyed my family. Enough is enough. Elizabeth had even texted Nilo, demanding he control his wife. Be a man, she had taunted him. Stop her. It was the oldest motive in the book, a crime of passion. A scorned woman, removing the rival. Agents descended on the Pap residence. Elizabeth was defiant, angry, and unashamed of her hatred for Ildiko. I didn't like her. Elizabeth spat. Did you kill her? They searched the Pap house. They looked for chemicals. They looked for wires. They found nothing. Elizabeth Pap had a motive, but she had no means. She didn't know how to build a bomb that could vaporize a human being. The list of suspects was dwindling. The handyman, the lovers, the husband, they all lacked the specific, terrifying skill set required to construct the device that tore apart the Magyar spa. The bomb wasn't just a bomb. It was a signature. Amarasaye, the FBI lab technicians, were piecing together the debris from the blast site. They found fragments of a cardboard box. They found the shredded remains of a battery, a CVS brand A9-volt battery, and embedded in the ceiling tiles, fused by the heat of the blast, they found chemical residue. It matched the chemicals found in Stephen Beale's garage. Chapter 4. The interrogation. Stephen Beale walked into the Aliso Viejo substation voluntarily. He wasn't in handcuffs yet. He thought he was helping. Or perhaps he thought he was outsmarting them. The interview room was small, the air stagnant. Ackerman sat across from him. An FBI agent sat in the corner, silent, watching. Stephen was comfortable. Too comfortable. He leaned back, crossing his legs. I'm writing a screenplay, Stephen announced suddenly. Ackerman blinked. A screenplay? Yes. It's about a soccer mom who is a part-time assassin. She's very good. She covers her tracks. Stephen smiled, a thin, actor smile. That's interesting, Stephen, Ackerman said, keeping his voice flat. Let's talk about the chemicals in your garage. Oh, those. Stephen waved a hand dismissively. Model rockets. I used to build them with my kids. Huge ones. 4 stages. It became an obsession. And you still use them? No, haven't touched them in years. I don't even know what's in there. Ackerman leaned forward. Stephen, the bomb that killed Ildiko used an oxidizer. You have oxidizers in your garage. Well, Stephen shrugged. If there's an oxidizer in the bomb, and I have oxidizers, that's just a coincidence. Chemistry is chemistry. He was arrogant. He was playing a game of intellectual chicken with the police. Then he did something that made the hair on the back of Ackerman's neck stand up. Do you want to see a magic trick? Stephen asked. Before Ackerman could answer, Stephen reached behind the investigator's ear and pulled a coin from the air. He grinned. You're kidding me, Ackerman thought. A woman is dead. Her body is in pieces. And this guy is doing parlor magic. It was the behavior of a sociopath. A man disconnected from the reality of death. Stephen, Ackerman said, do you know what means motive and opportunity are? Sure, Stephen said. You have the means. The chemicals. The knowledge. The chemicals. I suppose I could fall into that category, Stephen admitted, seemingly unbothered. And motive? You were the ex-boyfriend. No, Stephen shook his head. But you texted her constantly. You paid her rent. I'm a generous guy. Ackerman stood up. He had seen enough. The quirky grandfather act wasn't working. Stephen, in my heart and in my gut, I think you killed her. Stephen didn't flinch. He just stared back, his eyes empty of empathy. That night, Stephen Beale was arrested. Not for murder, they didn't have the forensic link yet, but for possession of unregistered destructive devices found in his garage. The rocket hobby was illegal. It was enough to hold him, or so they thought. Chapter 5. The release. The justice system is a machine of gears and levers, and sometimes the gears slip. A week after the arrest, Stephen Beale sat in a federal holding cell. He was wearing an orange jumpsuit. He looked smaller, older. The swagger was dampened by the concrete walls. But outside, his lawyer was working. The federal statutes regarding destructive devices were specific. The FBI lab examiner, under oath, admitted the crucial detail. It was a loophole the size of a launch pad. The federal prosecutor, Mark Takla, looked at the judge. He had no choice. Without a direct link to the bomb, a fingerprint, a DNA match, a video of him building it, the possession charge was shaky. Your Honor, the government moves to dismiss the complaint without prejudice. The gavel banged. Charges dropped. Stephen Beale stood up. He was free. Patron, he was free. Valerie Stone was waiting for him in the parking lot. It's over, she sobbed. It's finally over. Stephen hugged her back. He looked over her shoulder at the courthouse, at the agents watching him from the steps. He didn't smile this time. Let's go home, he said. But it wasn't over. Back at the FBI field office, Agent Nick Vicencia slammed a file onto his desk. He walked, Vicencia growled. He blew her up, and he walked. Ackerman paced the room. We need more. We need to tie him to that specific bomb. Not just general chemicals. We need the box. We need the battery. We need a confession, Vicencia said. They looked at the whiteboard. A picture of Valerie Stone was pinned there. The loyal girlfriend. The woman who had stood by him, who had driven him home, who believed he was innocent. She's the key, Vicencia said. Ackerman nodded slowly. You think she'll flip? If she knows what kind of monster she's sleeping with? Yeah, she'll flip. The FBI began to plan. They weren't going to arrest Stephen Beale again until they had him dead to rights. They were going to launch an operation, a sting. They were going to turn his fiancée into a spy. Chapter 6. The Sting. Valerie Stone wanted to believe. She was a woman who had suffered through bad relationships, men who were stuck on their exes, men who lied. He proposed to her with a diamond solitaire that sparkled with promise. But the FBI agents who pulled her over in the black Suburban didn't care about the ring. They drove her to a park. They took her phone. They showed her pictures, not the grainy news footage of the building. They showed her the crime scene photos, the inside of the spa, the blood, the fragmentation. This is what he did, Valerie, Agent Maracle said softly. Look at it. Valerie wept. He says he's innocent, Valerie pleaded. He says it was rockets. He bought the battery, the agent said. He bought the box. We have him on CCTV, but we need to know why. We need him to say it. They laid out the deal. They weren't asking her to leave him. They were asking her to get close. We want you to go on that trip to Malibu, the agent said. Okay, Valerie sniffed. But you're not going alone. They handed her a necklace. It was a statement piece, chunky and silver. There's a microphone inside, the agent explained. Wear it. Get him talking. Ask him about Ildiko. Ask him about the bomb. Get him angry. See if the mask slips. Valerie Stone, the woman who just wanted a peaceful life. The weekend in Malibu was a surreal nightmare. The hotel room was wired. 25 federal agents were in the van outside, listening to every breath, every rustle of sheets. Stephen was relaxed. Valerie touched the necklace, her heart hammering against her ribs. Stephen, she started, her voice trembling slightly. Do you ever think about her? About Ildiko? Stephen took a sip of wine. But, aren't you angry? I'm frustrated, Stephen said calmly. But the truth prevails, Val. I didn't do it. He was ice. He didn't crack. He didn't confess. He didn't even get annoyed. He was the perfect, loving fiancé. In the surveillance van, Agent Vicencia threw his headphones down. Nothing he's giving us. Stephen Beale was either the most innocent man in America or the most disciplined sociopath the FBI had ever encountered. Valerie tried. The weekend ended. No confession. Valerie felt a strange mixture of relief and dread. Relief that he hadn't confessed maybe he was innocent, and dread because she knew the FBI wasn't stopping. She was right. The forensics team had been busy. They had taken the fragments of the battery found in the ceiling the CVS Enya vault. They tracked the lot number. They pulled Stephen's bank records. 1 week before the bombing, Stephen Beale had gone to a CVS near his house. He paid cash. But the store security cameras were rolling. There he was, buying a single 9-volt battery. Then, they found the box. Stephen had purchased a specific size of cardboard shipping box from a store near the spa. The net was tightening. The coincidences were piling up into a mountain of evidence. On March 3, Dioli thousands de Cainea, nearly a year after the explosion, the phone rang in the house Valerie and Stephen shared. Stephen answered. He listened. His face went pale. He handed the phone to Valerie. It's the agent, Stephen said. I've been arrested. This time, the charge wasn't possession. Malicious destruction of a building resulting in death. Federal code for murder. Stephen Beale was going back to jail. And this time, there would be no loophole. Chapter 7. The Trial of the Century. 4 years later, 2022, the wheels of justice grind slow, but they grind exceeding fine. Stephen Beale sat at the defense table. He was 63 now. His hair was thinner, his face more lined. He wore a suit, looking every bit the grandfatherly figure his defense team wanted the jury to see. The prosecution, led by Mark Takla, laid out the case. They played the video of Stephen's rocket demonstration, showing his comfort with explosives. They showed the CCTV of him buying the battery. They showed the text messages. I love you forever, Stephen had texted Ildiko just weeks before he killed her. Obsession. Takla told the jury. He couldn't have her, so he destroyed her. He couldn't have her, so he destroyed her. They showed the photos from Stephen's phone. He had gone through Ildiko's Facebook. He had taken photos of her messages with Laszlo, the Hungarian lover. He had translated them. He knew everything. He was a stalker with a chemistry set. But the defense fought back. Where is the direct proof? They pointed fingers at everyone else. Elizabeth Papp, the jealous wife. Nilo, the husband. Max, the handyman who slept in his car. Stephen Beale is a weird guy, the lawyer admitted. He's an oddball. He likes rockets. That doesn't make him a killer. The jury retired to deliberate. Days passed. The tension in the hallway was thick enough to choke on. Finally, a note We are deadlocked. A mistrial. Stephen Beale smiled. He had done it again. He had acted his way out of a conviction. He was the star of Devon to angry jurors. But the prosecution wasn't giving up. We will retry him, Takla vowed to the press. June 2023, the second trial. This time, the government didn't hold back. They built a replica of the spa. They built a replica of the bomb. In a silent courtroom, they played the video of the test explosion. The mannequin, dressed like Ildiko, stood at the counter. Boom. The violence was absolute. The mannequin was obliterated. The jury watched, horrified. This wasn't a hobby. This was a weapon of war. The jury watched. Then, the defense played their ace. Valerie Stone. She took the stand. She was no longer the fiancée. The relationship had withered under the strain of incarceration and time. But she still defended him. He never confessed, Valerie told the jury. I wore a wire. It was powerful testimony. If the man didn't confess to the woman he loved in the privacy of a hotel room, maybe he really didn't do it. Maybe he really didn't confess to the woman, but the prosecution, they focused on the silence. He didn't confess. Takla argued in closing, because he is a control freak. He is an actor. He knew he was being watched. He knew she was digging. His silence isn't proof of innocence. It's proof of his discipline. The jury went out. This time, they didn't take days. In less than 2 hours, they returned. Stephen Beale stood. He adjusted his jacket. Will the jury find the defendant, Stephen Beale, guilty? The word hung in the air, heavier than the smoke on Mary Blue Road. Guilty. Stephen didn't cry. He didn't scream. He just stared, his expression unreadable. The mask finally calcified. Outside the courthouse, Ildiko's family wept. Justice, delayed 5 years, had finally arrived. Valerie Stone, watching from afar, felt a chapter of her life slam shut. In the end, Stephen Beale's greatest performance, the role of the grieving, innocent eccentric, had failed. Life in prison. Epilogu. The echo. Aliso Viejo is quiet again. The building on Mary Blue Road has been repaired. The glass is new. The scent of sulfur is long gone, replaced by the smell of fresh paint and suburban commerce. But for those who were there, the echo remains. Holly Salcedo still flinches at loud noises. She still misses the sunshine of her friend Ildiko. Valerie Stone moved away, lost weight, and started over, trying to scrub the memory of the wire and the lies from her skin. And somewhere in a federal penitentiary, Stephen Beale sits in a cell. But he can no longer make things disappear. He couldn't make the battery disappear. He couldn't make the box disappear. And he couldn't make the truth disappear. Ildiko Krajniak is gone, but the blast that took her life illuminated the darkness of the man who claimed to love her. It was, as the detective said, murder by bombing. And now, finally, there was silence. The Aliso Protocol. Part The Performance of Innocence. Chapter 8. The Wire. Summer 2018. Valerie Stone was living in a house of mirrors. To the outside world, she was the loyal fiancée, the woman who had picked Stephen Beale up from jail and driven him home, defying the whispers of the community. But inside, she was vibrating with a secret that felt heavier than the diamond solitaire on her finger. The FBI had made their pitch in a parked car, showing her the carnage of the spa. They wanted a confession. They wanted the man she slept next to every night to admit he was a monster. We want to pay for the hotel, the agent had said regarding their upcoming romantic getaway to Malibu. It was a perverse offer, a luxury weekend funded by the Department of Justice in exchange for a betrayal. Valerie signed the papers. She consented to the listening devices. She consented to the cameras. The weekend arrived. Malibu was overcast, the marine layer clinging to the coast like a wet sheet. The hotel room was pristine, but to Valerie, it felt crowded. She knew that nearby, perhaps in a van parked down the street, 25 agents were listening. She touched her chest. Resting against her skin was a necklace, a piece she hadn't worn in years. Inside the pendant was a microphone. "Look what I found," she had told Stephen earlier, feigning delight. "I hadn't seen this in forever. I thought I'd lost it." Stephen had smiled, that calm, paternal smile. Now, sitting on the balcony, Valerie tried to play her part. She was an actress in a play with life or death stakes. "Stephen," she started, pouring him a glass of wine. She brought up Il Dico. She brought up the bombing. "It's just so awful," she said, watching his eyes. "The police. They seem so sure." Stephen took a sip. He looked at the ocean. "It's a nightmare, Val, but they're wrong. They have tunnel vision." He didn't get angry. He didn't rant. He didn't confess. He was calm, cool, and collected. Valerie felt a spike of panic. Is he innocent? Or is he simply better at this than I am? The agents in the van adjusted their headsets, waiting for the crack in the armor. They waited for a slip-up, a moment of rage, a whisper of guilt. But Stephen Beale gave them nothing but the banalities of a man on vacation. He never did. Valerie would later reflect. The weekend ended. The FBI had thousands of hours of audio of Stephen Beale enjoying wine and ocean views. But not a single second of a confession. Valerie returned the necklace. She went back to the house in Long Beach, back to the man who might be a murderer, and tried to sleep. She had done everything they asked, and it had yielded nothing. Chapter 9. 12 Angry Jurors. 2019 The Interregnum. For a man under the microscope of the federal government, Stephen Beale lived a remarkably loud life. He was free. The charges had been dropped. The rocket hobby defense had held. To the casual observer, he was a victim of police overreach, a quirky, grieving business partner who had been unfairly targeted because of his eccentricities. Stephen leaned into his artistic side. Art illuminates life, he liked to say. He was cast in a local production of Devon the Angry Jurors. Stephen Beale, the prime suspect in a homicide, was playing the jury foreman in a play about a murder trial. Just remember that this is a first-degree murder charge, Stephen's character intoned from the stage. So if we return a verdict of guilty, the accused goes to the electric chair. In the darkened audience, there were patrons who applauded. They weren't just there for the irony. They were building a parallel case. Stephen had been collecting disability payments for over a decade. He claimed he suffered from aphasia, memory loss, and an inability to read. An inability, yet there he was on stage, reciting lines he had memorized perfectly. "He thinks he's outsmarting everybody," investigator Ackerman noted. Stephen knew they were watching. He believed he could play both roles simultaneously. While Stephen took his bows, the FBI financial forensics team was deep in the data. They were looking for the receipts in the literal sense. They found a transaction at a Staples store near the spa. Stephen Beale, using his own rewards card, had purchased a Commodore box, a 12PXXEX cardboard shipping box. It matched the dimensions of the box Il Dico opened. Then, the CVS footage surfaced. A week before the blast, Stephen walked into a drugstore. The brand matched the debris found in the ceiling. The coincidences were no longer coincidences. They were a roadmap. On Sunday, March 3, 2019, Valerie was still in bed when Stephen left to run errands. Minutes later, her phone rang. It was Stephen. "I've just been arrested," he said. The interregnum was over. The curtain had fallen on his freedom. Chapter 10. The Arithmetic of Probably. The first trial, 2022, 4 years, had passed since the explosion. The world had changed, but Stephen Beale had remained in a federal holding cell, denied bail. The charge was no longer possession. It was malicious destruction of a building resulting in death. The trial began with the prosecution laying out the obsession. They showed the jury the text messages. "You are the woman that I've always dreamed of. I will love you forever," Stephen had written just weeks before the murder. They argued that when Stephen realized Ildiko was never coming back to him, that she was making plans with Laszlo in Hungary, he decided that if he couldn't have her, no one would. He knew how to make rockets and fireworks, prosecutor Mark Takla told the jury. Those are the exact things one needs to know how to make a bomb. They showed the video of Stephen teaching a class on how to mix chemicals safely. "This is extremely gentle," Stephen said in the video, his hands steady as he mixed volatile powders. But the defense, led by attorney Craig Harbaugh, hammered on the lack of direct evidence. "Where is the DNA?" Harbaugh asked. They pointed to the other suspects. Elizabeth Papp, the woman who had sent intimate photos to taunt Ildiko. Ronilo, the husband who knew about the affairs. Max, the handyman who slept in the parking lot. The strongest piece of evidence is Mr. Bill's total lack of motive, the defense claimed. The jury went into deliberation. Inside the jury room, the air was thick with frustration. Juror Klaus was convinced. "There's only one way something gets shot into the ceiling at that kind of speed," he argued, referring to the battery parts. "That's if it's sitting right on top of the thing that detonates." But juror Marisela wasn't sure. "Not beyond a reasonable doubt," she insisted. They debated the motive. Was Stephen the type to kill out of jealousy? It wasn't obvious from the testimony that he was the kind of person who would fly off the handle, Marisela said. The vote was taken. 8-4 to convict. "Probably he did it," one juror said. "But probably is not good enough." Voices were raised. There was pointing. Acrimony filled the small room. They were stuck. The judge declared a mistrial. Stephen Bill remained in jail, but he had survived. The prosecution had failed to close the deal. To Ildiko's family, it was a devastating blow. "I was so disappointed," her cousin Eva said. But prosecutor Mark Takla was already preparing for the next round. "We were always going to retry that case," he said. Chapter 11. The Recreation. The second trial, June 2023. The prosecution learned from the first trial. They realized that circumstantial evidence needed a visceral anchor. They couldn't just tell the jury about the bomb. They had to show them the bomb. The new jury was seated. The evidence was presented again, the battery, the box, the texts, the chemicals. "Just Stephen Bill," the prosecution repeated. Then came the new evidence. The prosecution had constructed a replica of the bomb based on the chemical residue and the components Stephen had purchased. They placed it inside a box on a counter next to a mannequin. They played the video for the jury. The blast on the screen was horrific. The mannequin didn't just fall over, it disintegrated. The hands and arms were blown to bits. The legs were severed. The courtroom was silent. The video played side by side with the actual crime scene photos of Ildiko's remains. The similarity was undeniable. Propos the Yeli mass, the physics of the recreation matched the physics of the murder perfectly. It really showed how that bomb could have gone off. The prosecutor noted. It stripped away the hobby's defense. This wasn't a rocket gone wrong. This was a device designed to erase a human being. Valerie Stone took the stand for the defense, trying to humanize Stephen. She admitted to being an informant, to wearing the wire, and getting nothing. He starts a new relationship, the defense argued. But the jury looked at the mannequin. They looked at the battery receipt. They looked at the man who searched online for narcissist beat polygraph. The eccentric grandfather mask had finally dissolved. Beneath it, The jury saw a cold, calculating engineer of death. They deliberated for less than 2 hours. When the verdict was read, guilty Ildiko's family felt a wave of relief that had been dammed up for 5 years. Stephen Beale, the man who thought he was the smartest person in the room, was finally out of moves. The final bow, January 2024. Stephen Beale stood for sentencing. He was 64 years old. The federal system does not offer parole for his crimes. The judge sentenced him to life in prison. Outside the courthouse, the sun was shining on a world that had moved on without him. Eva, Ildiko's cousin, spoke to the cameras. Perofa Su, he will spend his remaining days in prison, she said, finding peace in the finality of it. Valerie Stone had finally started to let go. She had moved out of California. She had lost weight. She was trying to find who she was before she became a character in Stephen Beale's drama. She still struggled with the truth. I believe him because I believe he's not a sociopath, she had said. But the evidence was a stubborn thing. The text messages from 20,000 were read to her, the ones where Stephen poured out his undying love for Ildiko just days before he began dating Valerie. That kind of makes me feel ick, Valerie admitted. In the end, Stephen Beale was left with his own company. No audience, no stage, no rockets. Just the concrete reality of his actions. He had tried to create the perfect crime, a murder by bombing that would look like an accident or the work of a stranger. But he had left a trail of receipts, both paper and digital, that led straight back to his garage. The thunder in the concrete on Mary Blue Road had faded, but the silence of Ildiko Krajniak would always be louder than any line Stephen Beale could ever deliver. The Aliso Protocol, Book 3. The Fuse, 2016, 2016, Chapter 13. The Algorithm of Romance, Chapter 13, Autumn 2016. The Internet promises connection, but often it only delivers collisions. Stephen Beale sat in his home in Long Beach, the glow of his computer monitor illuminating a face that had seen nearly 6 decades of life. He was lonely. His wife had passed away. His children were grown, and the silence of the house was punctuated only by the hum of his aquarium and the occasional creak of his model rocket settling in the garage. He opened the dating app. He swiped. He wasn't looking for just anyone. Someone who could appreciate his eclectic mix of hobbies, the acting, the chemistry, the travel. Then he saw her, Ildiko Krajniak. Hungarian, blonde, a smile that seemed to vibrate with energy, even through the pixels of a JPEG. She was 40xy, but she looked a decade younger. Her profile spoke of a love for beauty, for travel, for life. He swiped right. The connection was immediate. They met for coffee, and Stephen was enchanted. Ildiko was a whirlwind. She spoke with a thick accent that he found exotic. She was tactile, warm, and unapologetically ambitious. She was an esthetician, a skincare expert who made people feel beautiful. I want to open my own place, she told him early on. A sanctuary? Stephen, the retired consultant with money in the bank and time on his hands, saw an opening. He didn't just want to be her boyfriend. He wanted to be her hero. I can help with that, he said. They began to date exclusively. In Lisbon, they walked hand in hand down cobblestone streets. In Mexico, they drank tequila and watched the sunset. Stephen wrote her poems. I love how, when I dream of my life partner, the only person that I can see is you, he recited into his phone, sending the file into the digital ether. To Stephen, this was a great love story. He was the benefactor, the lover, the partner. But Ildiko was more complex than the cute little bunny persona she projected. She was a woman carrying the weight of a stagnant marriage. To Ronnie Lovestil, a decent man she had simply outgrown. She was a mother trying to secure a future for her son, Keanu, and she was a woman who needed craved attention. Stephen was safe. He was generous. But was he enough? Chapter 14. The Magyar Κοσμετικά. 16. 17. The dream became brick and mortar on Mary Blue Road in Alisoviejo. They signed a lease together. It was a partnership in every sense. Stephen put up the capital. Ildiko put up the talent. They named it Magyar Cosmetica, Hungarian Cosmetics. Stephen threw himself into the project. He wasn't just a financier. He was the handyman, the tech support, the manager. He built the shelves. He set up the computer systems. He spent hours at the spa, watching her work, hovering in the background. At first, Ildiko appreciated the help. But Stephen's presence began to feel heavy. He was always there. He wanted access to everything. Her schedule, her emails, her bank accounts. Initially, she gave it to him. Why not? He was paying the bills. But about a year and a half into the relationship, the dynamic shifted. Ildiko began to pull away. Stephen noticed. He was a man of details, a man who measured chemicals to the milligram. He noticed the slight changes in her tone, the gaps in her timeline. He confronted her. "Why did you change the password?" he asked, trying to keep his voice level. "I just need some privacy, Stephen," she said, her eyes flashing. "You are not my husband." That word stung. Husband. She had a husband, Nilo, at home. Stephen accepted that. He had made his peace with being the other man because he believed he was the primary man. But now he suspected he was just one of many. His suspicion wasn't unfounded. Ildiko had a history. There was the affair with Gabor Pap, the married man whose wife, Elizabeth, had caused a scene at the spa. Elizabeth had sent Ildiko intimate photos of Gabor, taunting her. "She almost destroyed my family," Elizabeth had texted Nilo. Stephen knew about Elizabeth. But the doubt was a corrosive acid. It began to eat away at the cool guy facade Stephen had constructed. One night, Ildiko told him she was having dinner with her friend Holly. Stephen didn't believe her. He texted her. He called her. She didn't answer. So, he drove to the restaurant. When Ildiko walked out with Holly, Stephen was there, waiting in the parking lot. "You checked on me?" Ildiko asked, her voice rising. "I was worried," Stephen lied. But his face was tight with anger. He was jealous, possessive. Holly saw it. She saw the darkness behind the grandfatherly glasses. He was pretty angry that night, she would later say. Seiste. Stephen Beale was losing control. Chapter 15. The Interception. February. The unraveling accelerated. Ildiko announced she was going to Hungary. Alone. Or so she said. She needed to see family. She needed a break. Alone. Alona. She needed a break. Ildiko. Alona. Stephen wanted to go. "I need to do this by myself," she said. Stephen smiled and agreed. But the moment she left, he went to work. At Ifenestatu, he had access to her devices, or at least he found ways to get access. Laszlo was in Hungary. He and Ildiko were planning to meet. Stephen sat in his living room. The glow of the screen reflecting in his glasses. He read the messages. They were in Hungarian. He didn't speak Hungarian, but Stephen was methodical. He took photos of the screen with his own phone. Dozens of them. He would translate them later. He needed to know exactly how much of a fool she was making of him. When he translated the texts, the humiliation was complete. "Miss you. Can't wait to dance with you. I want to be with you. Miss you, can't to dance with you. Miss you, can't to be with you." She wasn't just visiting family. She was rekindling an old flame. She was planning a future that didn't include Stephen Beale. The Carole King song he liked to quote. One of us is changing. Or maybe you can just stop trying played in his head. He realized then that the relationship was dead. He needed a return on his investment. Or, at the very least, he needed to liquidate the asset. Chapter 16. The Chemistry of Betrayal. April 2018. Ildiko returned from Hungary. She was distant. She told Stephen they were done romantically. She wanted to be just business partners. Stephen agreed. Of course, he said. We built this together. I'm not going to abandon the business. He played the part of the amicable ex perfectly. He started dating Valerie Stone almost immediately, flaunting the new relationship to show he had moved on. She's moved on. I've moved on, he told Valerie. It's all good. But in the garage, the rockets were no longer the focus. Stephen began to research. He wasn't looking for flight trajectories. He was looking for combustion rates. He was looking for containment. He had the chemicals. He had the potassium perchlorate. He had the aluminum powder. He had the know-how to mix them without blowing himself up. He needed a delivery system. He watched Ildiko's schedule. He logged into the spa's booking software. He saw when she had clients. He saw the gaps. He saw the patterns. He knew she was going back to Hungary in May with Laszlo. He knew she would come back on May the 14th. He knew she would be at the spa on May the 14th. May 8, 2018, 1 week before, Stephen walked into a CVS. He was calm. He wasn't wearing a disguise. Why would he? He was just a man buying a battery. He picked up a CVS brand 9-volt battery. He walked out. Next, he went to Staples. He needed a box. A specific box. Not too big. Not too small. A 12x6x cardboard shipping box. It needed to look like a package of beauty supplies. It needed to be mundane. He used his rewards card. Back in the garage, the construction began. This wasn't a slapdash pipe bomb. This was a shaped charge. He placed the chemicals inside the box. He wired the battery to a switch that would be triggered when the flap was lifted. He packed it tight. He added an oxidizer to ensure the burn was instantaneous and hot. He looked at his creation. It was a brown cardboard box. Innocuous. Boring. It was a death sentence. Chapter 17. The Delivery. May 13. 2018. Ildiko was flying back from Budapest. She stopped in San Francisco to say goodbye to Laszlo. She was happy. She had told her friend Sarah that she was ready to move forward with this new man. Stephen checked her schedule again. Sometime in the dark hours, the box was moved. He didn't mail it. Mailing leaves a paper trail. Mailing risks interception. Stephen had a key to the spa. He drove to Aliso Viejo. The streets were quiet. He let himself in. The smell of lavender and acetone greeted him, the smell of her. He placed the box on the counter, near the reception desk. He placed it where she couldn't miss it. He placed it where, instinctively, she would open it to see what new supplies had arrived. He locked the door. He drove home. May 15, 2018, the morning of. Stephen woke up. He texted Ildiko, "Are you back? Hope you had a good trip." He was establishing the timeline. He was creating the digital footprint of a concerned friend. Ildiko arrived at the spa. She saw the box. She didn't open it immediately. She had clients. She was busy. Si naisef. Si Mazdelena. Si Mazdelena pute. Si Mazdelena pute. Stephen waited. At 10:08 p.m., the text messages stopped going through. Stephen Beale turned on the TV. Breaking news from Aliso Viejo. He watched the smoke rising from the building he had leased. He watched the chaos he had engineered. He picked up his phone and texted Valerie. There was an explosion there? Ildiko, are you okay? The performance had begun. The Aliso protocol, Book 3. The Blast. Radius. Book 3. Chapter 18. 0 hour. May 15. 2018. 1:09 p.m. The world did not go black, it went white. For the woman lying on the treatment table, a mother of two who had come to the spa for a moment of peace, the universe contracted into a single point of blinding intensity. One moment, she was listening to the soft hum of the air conditioning and the familiar, reassuring voice of Ildiko Krajniak. She watched Ildiko standing at the counter, her hand reaching out to open a cardboard box. Then, the air itself seemed to shatter. A bright light erased the room. It was followed instantly by a darkness that was not the absence of light, but the presence of debris. The ceiling, the walls, the very structure of the building crumbled inward, burying the occupants in a tomb of drywall, glass, and insulation. Outside, on the streets of Aliso Viejo, the sound of the blast rolled over the suburban landscape like a thunderclap. Holly Salcedo, eating lunch a mile away, froze as the concussion rattled her windows. It was a sound that didn't belong in this leafy green wedge of Orange County. In the parking lot, the air filled with a plume of white smoke. It carried a distinct, acrid scent, the sulphurous smell of fireworks. It was the smell of a celebration turned into a massacre. Sheriff's Deputy Jack Ackerman was the first to breach the perimeter. His dashcam recorded the chaos, the fire, the smoke, the people stumbling away from the ruin. Is anybody hurt? Ackerman shouted into the dust. A voice called back, weak and terrified. 2, 3. Ackerman moved deeper into the wreckage. He saw the devastation. He saw the severed limbs on the ground. He saw the catastrophic damage to the human body that guaranteed loss of life. "I've got body parts," he radioed, his voice steady despite the horror. The survivors were pulled from the rubble, their bodies battered by the shockwave, their minds scattered by the image of the woman who had been standing there 1 second and was gone the next. They were transported to area hospitals, critical but alive. They were the only witnesses to the final moment of Ildiko Krajniak's life, the moment she opened the box that turned a day spa into a crater. Chapter 19. The Debris Field. Chapter 19. May 16, 2018. The investigation began not with a magnifying glass, but with a shovel. FBI agent Nick Vicencia looked out over the massive debris field. The explosion had been so powerful that it had blown pieces of the building and pieces of the bomb out into the street. To catch a bomber, you have to work inside out. You have to find the seed of the destruction. The bomb technicians, dressed in protective gear, began the slow, agonizing process of sifting through the wreckage. Every bomb maker leaves a fingerprint, not in oil and skin, but in design and chemistry. High in the ceiling, lodged into the acoustic tiles by the force of the upward blast, they found it. It was the jacket of a battery. But not just any battery. The casing was split open, the cells exposed. It was a CVS brand battery. The bomb itself tells you that you're looking for someone who has some specific specialized skills, an investigator noted. This wasn't a crude pipe bomb filled with nails. This was a device powered by a specific electric fusing system. It used a battery to ignite a filament, which ignited the fuel, and the fuel was specific. The white smoke that had billowed over the parking lot told the chemists exactly what they were dealing with. It was flash powder, likely potassium perchlorate and aluminum. It was the chemistry of high-grade fireworks. Agent Vicencia knew what this meant. Who in Ildiko's life knew about fireworks? Who knew about oxidizers? Who had the specialized skills to build a bomb that wouldn't blow up in their own face during assembly? The arrow of evidence began to swing away from the jealous wife, Elizabeth Papp, and away from the frantic husband, Ronillo. It pointed toward the man who built model rockets, the man who had large quantities of explosive chemicals sitting in his garage. Stephen Beale. Chapter 20. The Reconstruction. 2019. Justice required more than a battery casing. For years, Stephen Beale had maintained his innocence, hiding behind the guise of a harmless hobbyist. His defense team argued that the chemicals in his garage were for rockets, that the battery was for household use. He used his Staples rewards card, they argued, suggesting a killer wouldn't be so brazen. To prove that Stephen Beale was not a hobbyist but a murderer, the prosecution decided to rebuild the weapon. Using the forensic data collected from the spa, the specific mixture of chemicals, the size of the box, though the kikes, XXX, and the placement of the battery, the FBI constructed a replica of the device. They took the replica to a test range. They rolled the cameras. The detonation was absolute. The video, played later for a silent courtroom, showed the terrifying efficiency of the device. The mannequin didn't just fall, it was obliterated. The hands and arms were blown into bits. The legs were severed. It was a vivid reminder of the violence visited upon Ildiko. The test confirmed the prosecution's theory. The battery found in the ceiling had been sitting directly on top of the explosive charge. When the blast occurred, the battery was fired upward like a bullet, embedding itself in the tiles. There's only one way. Something gets shot into the ceiling at that kind of speed, Juror Klaus would later remark. The chemical residue found at the scene matched the chemicals in Stephen's garage. The science was closing in. Chapter 21. 2018-2023. While the FBI reconstructed the bomb, Ildiko's family tried to reconstruct their lives. For Onilo Vestil, the days after the explosion were a blur of grief and suspicion. He had been the first suspect, the husband who arrived too quickly, the man who knew about the affairs. He was a frantic individual looking for information, investigators noted. But as the investigation cleared him, he was left with the silence of the house he had shared with Ildiko. They had lived separate lives under the same roof, yes, but they were still a family. They had raised a son, Keanu, together. Now, the mother of his child was gone, turned into body parts on a coroner's table. For Ildiko's cousin, Eva Boni, the grief was compounded by the weight. She watched as Stephen Beale was arrested, then released, then arrested again. I just didn't know if they were ever going to find the person responsible, she said. She missed the daily phone calls. She missed the way Ildiko could make a person feel like they were flying after a visit to the salon. She was a sunshine in some of my darkest days, her friend Holly said. But the sunshine was gone, replaced by the grey reality of courtrooms. When the final guilty verdict came in the 2023, it didn't bring Ildiko back, but it brought a measure of peace. After 5 years of waiting and wondering, Eva said outside the courthouse, our family and friends had peace in knowing that Mr. Beale will spend his remaining days in prison. The bomb had destroyed a building and a woman, but it had not destroyed the truth.